होम केयर वाला ऑप्शन सबसे बढ़िया है। ऑनलॉक का पेस प्रोग्राम एक ऐसा कन्वीनियंट एंड पर्सनलाइज्ड ऑप्शन है जिसके जरिए हमारे बुजुर्ग घर पर हमारे साथ रहकर यही देखभाल और सेवा का लाभ उठा सकते हैं। अब चाहे वो घर पर रहे या ऑनलॉक वाले पेस सेंटर में आए, उनको वही डेडिकेटेड एंड प्रोफेशनल केयर मिलेगी। ऑनलॉक ने बुजुर्गों की सेहत को अपना प्रायोरिटी बना लिया है। और जानने के लिए 1855-308-0195 पे कॉल करें। That's 1855-308-0195.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this show do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Radio Hotties. The content broadcast on this show is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Top of the morning, Bay, with Good Morning Bay.
Get to know about the traffic on your way and what's news around the world today.
Some wisdom skills along the way.
Oh, and a song to hum along with and sway.
Get your perfect entertaining start to the day.
At 9 a.m. every weekday morning with
Mahima's
Good Morning Bay.
Good morning, Bay. आप सभी लोग हमारे तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते,
नमस्कार,
वनकम,
नमस्कार,
खुशामदीद,
सलाम अलैकुम,
सत श्री अकाल,
మీకు అందరికీ వందనము,
जय स्वामी नारायण,
जय श्री कृष्ण।
जय जिनेंद्र।
हमारे इस्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोल दे या अली मदद।
मोलाली मतलब बोलते हुए सारे फीजी बंदर बोलेंगे ईसाम बोला बदजान। हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारा। मैं से फालतू बाबा
And of course myself फालतू रानी लेकर आपके लिए एक और drive time that's going to make it totally exciting and totally मस्तानी बंधु जानी।
तो बदजान अभी के लिए quickly let's go take a look at what's happening on the roads. रास्ते का हाल आपको देंगे हम लोग तो सस्ते में।
It's time for the Bandu Traffic Update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
Good thing is, though the things are opened up over here, पहला तो 2 दिन के लिए बहुत सारी गर्दी हुई थी ट्रैफिक पे, लेकिन अभी के लिए kind of looking simple and rather going back to the COVID situation, but where the traffic is pretty much light nowadays, in the mornings at least. I don't know because of oncoming holidays or the fact that people actually are taking it easy or trying to slowly get into it, or could be the fact that the variant, Delta variant is actually looming on people's heads right now as to what might happen. But then it's got to be cautious. Doesn't mean you got to stop your life. You can continue and try to be safe. Make sure you're fully vaccinated for sure. That's one layer of safety which you already will have. And then masking actually helps some more time when we can actually ride out this particular wave of the jam. But right now, let me tell you, traffic on the roads, Whipple Avenue ke aaspaas mein, there actually is an accident over there, northbound 101. The right lane is affected there. But across the bridge from the same area, I would say there's accident injuries on 880 southbound north of Alvarado Boulevard in Fremont. And this is affecting traffic all the way until 92 bridge, so you got to watch out for that bridge. It's a huge backlog over there. And down south, 87 northbound west of Capitol Avenue, there's an accident over there which is being cleared, but some debris in the road, which actually is being reported right now. An accident with a collision and some injuries on 85 northbound San Jose. This actually is very close to 87 and 85 intersection. So very close to each other, those two incidents. But I don't see much of a congestion. Only between those two things, there's a little bit of slow stop and go traffic, I guess. And weather-wise, I feel like it's kind of cloudy outside, right? Yes, but it's going to be cloudy all the way till noon, and noon tak sab chal jayega, Baljan. We don't have very high temperatures, Baljan. We actually, though it's supposed to be officially summer season, we are somewhere in the mid-60s right now, probably go up to mid-70s in the later part of the afternoon. And yeah, this kind of trend is going to carry on onto the weekend for sure. We don't have very high weather temperatures. Probably cloudy weather next week, but right now, for now at least, we are going to have some sunlight after these clouds burn out, and possible the light showers in different parts of the Bay Area. But that's what we have for you on the traffic update. But now what we're going to go is and give you some updates on what's happening with the news. Faltoni, what do we have as news for our bandus?
Well, really disturbing news early this morning, Badajan. Hundreds of fire and rescue workers scoured through tons of rubble on Thursday after a 12-story oceanfront residential building partially collapsed in southern Florida, with at least one person dead and 51 people still accounted for, officials said. Sally Heyman, a Miami-Dade County Commissioner, said officials have been unable to make contact with 51 people who supposedly live in the building, home to a mix of people, including families and part-time snowbirds who spend the winter months in Florida. A fire official said 35 people have been rescued from the building in Surfside, a seaside enclave of 5,700 residents on a barrier island across Biscayne Bay from the city of Miami, including 2 who were pulled from the rubble as response teams used trained dogs and drones in a search for survivors. After speaking with local officials, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said it was possible that more victims could be found in the rubble. He said he planned to go to the scene himself. We will bring you more details on that story as and when it unfolds right here on Good Morning Babe and Jan. The Biden administration on Thursday said that it was extending Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's COVID-19 residential eviction moratorium until July 31st. Reuters first reported that the expected extension on Tuesday could be occurring. The national ban on residential evictions was first implemented last September and was extended in March until June 30th. A CDC statement on Thursday extending it to July 31st said this is intended to be the final extension of the moratorium. The CDC also went on to say that COVID-19 pandemic has presented a historic threat to the nation's public health. Keeping people in their homes and out of crowded or congregate settings like homeless shelters by preventing evictions is key to helping stop the spread of COVID-19. Mitch McConnell is undecided on the infrastructure plan as senators are heading to the White House. The top Republican in the U.S. Senate held off from supporting a bipartisan infrastructure proposal on Thursday as the group of senators that crafted the plan prepared to present it to President Joe Biden at the White House. Members of the group, 21 senators, dubbed as the G21, reached agreement on Wednesday on the framework of a package to invest in the country's bridges, roads, and other physical infrastructure after a meeting with White House officials. Republican senators briefed Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell on the plan at a morning meeting that included members of his leadership team before heading to the White House to see the Democratic President, Joe Biden. Speaking of presidents, former president's attorney Rudy Giuliani's law license in New York State was suspended today as a state appeals court found that he had lied in arguing that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from his client, former President Donald Trump. Giuliani, 77, a former U.S. attorney in Manhattan and New York City mayor, was sanctioned for making unsubstantiated claims in court, testimony before lawmakers, press conferences, and other media appearances about electoral fraud. A 5-justice appellate division in Manhattan found, quote, uncontroverted, unquote, evidence that Giuliani made demonstrably false and misleading statements to courts, lawmakers, and the public in trying to overturn the election, which Democrat Joe Biden won. These false statements were made to improperly bolster Giuliani's narrative that due to widespread voter fraud, victory in the 2020 United States presidential election was actually stolen from his client, the court said. We conclude that the respondent's conduct immediately threatens public interest and warrants interim suspension from the practice of law, unquote. The United States government is preparing to issue a landmark report on UFOs. The US government, once openly dismissive of UFO sightings that for decades sparked the popular imagination, is poised to issue an expansive account of what it calls unidentified aerial phenomena. That's right, which is based on observations by American military pilots. The U.S. intelligence community, in conjunction with the Pentagon, is due in the coming days to submit a report to Congress on the subject. The Pentagon in recent years has released or confirmed the authenticity of the video from naval aviators showing enigmatic aircraft exhibiting speed and maneuverability exceeding known aviation technologies. Well, speaking of that, Bandujan, there is a possibility that alien astronomers, could they have spotted Earth just as we may have spotted something different? Well, we've already found thousands of exoplanets in our search for life in the cosmos, most of them using the transit method, which is basically seeing the way a star's light dims slightly as a planet crosses through our line of sight. Determining which of those thousands of exoplanets hosts life in one is one of the most significant scientific adventures of all time. And there's new technology on the horizon that will seek to answer this question. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope will be the first telescope that is large enough to identify signs of life on worlds looking back at us if it is out there. It is scheduled to launch later this year. Will it find evidence of real extraterrestrials? Well, we don't know. So what they're saying is honk if you see us. What is that about? We'll share on mediamahima.com when that story unfolds. In other news, Banajan, from yesterday actually, Nancy Pelosi, U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced that there will be a new House committee to investigate the Jan 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol after Senate Republicans in May blocked the creation of an independent commission to probe the assault. Speaking at a news conference, Pelosi declined to spell out a timeline for the panel to investigate, saying it'll be as long as it takes. In local news, Banajan, let's tell you that a giant crane has arrived at the port of Oakland. This for the assembly at the Ben E. Nutter Terminal. Thanks to the morning's low tide and the San Francisco Bar pilot's guidance, the ship was able to clear both the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge successfully before arriving at the port around 7 a.m. Because the crane is about 300 feet high in its stowage position, it was partially disassembled before arriving at the San Francisco Bay. Captain Ann McIntyre, business director for the San Francisco Bar pilot, said maneuvering the ship was especially unique for the pilots, not only because of the crane's height, but the width, which extended to a 433-foot span. In news for San Jose, Banajan, there is, in an effort to conserve water, San Jose Water is going to be implementing restrictions for customers beginning in a week and a half. This as the Bay Area suffers through an extended dry spell. What are they going to be doing? Well, they are saying that they will be asking customers to only water yards at mornings or before 10 a.m. or at night, and only 2 days a week for no more than 15 minutes a day. Residents are also being asked to use professional car washes instead of their yard because the car washes use recycled water. This is an effort to cut consumption by 15%, a requirement imposed on them by Santa Clara Valley Water District. The meager rainy season has also put the whole region in a tough spot, and the loss of an important South Bay reservoir is making the situation even worse. So that's pretty much what we have in terms of news locally and from across the Bay Area. Banajan, we will be going into Agani Ka Kida, I guess. Alto Baba, do you have a song for us, which we will be closing?
That's true. We're going to close out the song by any headlines about what's happening around the world.
Well, yeah, Russia is warning Britain that they're going to start bombing their ships next time.
Oh yeah, this is because HMS fiasco, right?
Huh?
The HMS nuclear thing which walked into there. They just, I think it's like, the Brits actually try to just taunt them,
Well,
Why did they have to take them into the Black Sea, first of all? Not required.
Well, that's they're saying now they've summoned the British ambassador in Moscow for a formal diplomatic scolding, it seems, after the warship breached what the Kremlin says are its territorial waters, which Britain and most of the world say belong to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And an indigenous group in Canada, Saskatchewan province, have found the unmarked graves of 751 people at a now defunct residential school.
Wow.
The group said just weeks after a similar discovery in British Columbia that rocked the country. And the Hong Kong's Apple Daily, remember, which is being shut down, owner Lai is being punished for exercising basic fundamental rights, the United Nations report is saying. And in news from India, there is news about the fact that Prime Minister Modi is telling Jammu and Kashmir leaders at an all-party meet that he is committed to a democratic process and the statehood of Jammu and Kashmir. And also, there is some news that's breaking about some Gujaratis who have already paid about 247 crores in for breaching the mask rule during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yes. If you want to catch up on all these stories, you can go to mediamahima.com. That's all we have time for on this morning's Good Morning Bay. Enjoy this beautiful Gaane Ka Keeda Banajam. We'll be back tonight live at 5 with a whole lot of entertainment on the Pam Pam Show. Have a terrific Thursday.
राहों में देखो है मंजर सजे सारे हम जहां में हर जगह सपने सजाने की हमको मिली वजह कहीं जैसे कोई धुन बजे राहों में देखो है मंजर सजे सारे हम जहां में हर जगह सपने सजाने की हमको मिली वजह ये अगर जो सच नहीं तो सच भला है क्या अपने हिसाब से दिल की किताब पे कुछ तो नया लिखो.
Bandajan, this is your darling Faltu Rani, and let me tell you, Bandajani, that all these beautiful tracks that you're listening to right now are special Dihari picks that we've hand-picked just for you. We'll see you in just a few. Keep listening.